Hey, what's up guys? This is the third video for the Algebra 1 Fall Final Review for the year 2021. It is the third part, so we are going to we are going to look at questions 21 through 30 for this video. I do have two more videos that you guys can also watch, and they do cover the previous questions, but part 3 has 21 through 30. So let's go ahead and look at question 21. And the question says, write the equation in point slope form given 2 points, -2, 3, and 3, 4. And it says use the point 3, 4 for the form. So first of all, we need to understand what is the form that we're looking for. And I'm going to put a box. We are looking for the point slope form. The point slope form is when you guys have the y minus the y1 equals the slope m times the quantity of x minus x1. Guess what? We do have 2 points, so we are going to use one of them, and it says here use the point 3, 4. That's one of the points given to us. So I'm going to use that point for my x1 and my y1, but the thing is that we do not have the slope. We don't know what the slope is. It's not given to us, but we actually can find the slope by using 2 points. So to find the slope between the 2 points, we are going to use the slope formula. So I'm going to write down the slope formula on the side. M equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. That is when you guys have 2 different points. So my x1 is going to be the first point. Here's the x1, here's the y1. The second point is going to be x2 and y2. So you guys are going to substitute, and we are going to find the slope. So I'm going to have y2 is 4 minus y1 is 3 divided by x2 is 3. And I'm looking at these numbers, guys. Here's the x2. Here's the x1. And it is negative. So I'm going to have to use the minus with parentheses, -2. On the bottom, we do have double negatives, so that's going to turn into positive. So I'm going to have, I can do the top right now, 4 minus 3. That's going to be 1. So let's just put a 1 on the top. But on the bottom, it's going to be 3 plus 2. And then you guys finish the problem on 1 on the top, and the bottom, 3 plus 2 is 5. So the slope, using those 2 points, is 1 over 5. So all we have to do is, we have to substitute this slope into the m, into this point slope form, and we're going to use this point 3, 4 to substitute into the x1 and the y1. Remember guys, this one, it is your x and your y. So let me label that so you guys remember. X is always first. There is your x equals 3 and the y equals 4. So I'm going to substitute y minus the 4, which is the y1, equals, and that's the y from the point that we're using. The slope is 1 over 5. So you guys are going to substitute 1 over 5 here times the quantity of x minus, and the x, we're using the point 3, 4, so the x is 3. So I'm going to put a 3 in x1. And that is your point slope form. Question 22, it says convert to slope intercept form. So if you guys really look closely to this equation, this is not the slope intercept form. This is the point slope form. You guys have the y minus the y1 equals the slope times x minus the x1. So we want to find the slope intercept form. What is the slope intercept form? It's when you guys have the y by itself. I'm going to write it down on the side here. You guys have y equals, and we need the slope mx plus the y-intercept. But the main thing is that y is by itself. So we need to get that y by itself. Something else, you guys do not have parentheses in the slope-intercept form. Here we do have parentheses. So we have to get rid of the parentheses, and we have to get rid of the -5. We need to get y by itself. So let's go ahead and distribute first. I'm going to put a line under the equal sign. I'm going to multiply, distribute the -3 times the x. That's -3x. I am multiplying -3 times x, -3x. And then the negative 3 times the positive 6, that's negative 18. You guys bring down the y minus 5 over here. The next step, let's get the y by itself. I don't have any more parentheses, so let's eliminate the constant that's on the same side of the y. I'm going to do the opposite. Plus 5, add 5 to both sides. This cancels, so you guys bring down the y equals, there's the negative 3x, and you guys combine these two constants, negative 18 plus 5, that's going to be negative 13. So this equation has y by itself. Here's the m, that's the slope, mx, and then you guys have the y-intercept. So the answer is y equals negative 3x minus 13. Question 23 says, what is the rate of change for the table below? So we have a table. You guys have the x values in the first column. You guys have the y values in the second column. So what you guys need to know is, first of all, what is the rate of change? Rate of change is the same thing as the slope, m. So what we're looking for is, what is the value of m? The rate of change will be the slope. We know the slope is rise over run, but that's actually when you guys have a graph. So when you guys have a table, what we can also use is the change of y divided by the change of x. That's the same thing as rise over run, but it's just a different way to look at the y values and the x values. So when you guys look at the table, let me just move this table a little bit to the right. Let's go ahead and look at what pattern do we have for the x values and what pattern we have for the y values. So if you guys notice, the x values, we have a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the pattern is, you guys are adding 1 every time. So from 2 to the 3, that's a plus 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 to the 4, you add 1. 4 to the 5, you add 1. 5 to the 6, you add 1. So it has to be the same. The pattern has to be the same. So we are adding 1 every time. When you guys look at the y values, well, the y values, we have a 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. That's actually adding 2. So we're adding 2 plus 2. So 14 plus 2 is 16. 16 plus 2 is 18. 18 plus 2 is 20. Notice the pattern, it is the same. It has to be the same. In order to find the rate of change, the pattern has to be the same. And we say difference. The difference has to be the same. But the main thing is, we want to know what is the change of y. Well, the y is changing by 2. Every time you're adding 2, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. So the top of the fraction for the rate of change or slope, the change of y is 2 divided by, and the change of x is changing by 1 every time. So you guys have a 1 for the change of x. You guys can simplify 2 over 1. You guys can say m equals 2. So that is the slope of the table or rate of change of that table. 24 says, use the graph to calculate the rate of change. Again, rate of change, we know that that is the slope of, and we do have a graph, so we're looking for the slope of the graph. The rate of change is m, the slope. Now, since it is a graph, we're not going to use the change of the y over the change of the x so much. What we're going to use here is going to be the rise over the run. So you guys need to use 2 points on the line. So this 0, 1 is on the line. This 1, negative 2 is on the line. So I'm going to use those 2 points to find the rise and the run. You guys can use any points on the line. You just need to use 2. So I need to find out how to get from this point, 0, 1, all the way to the second point. So I need to go down. I'm going to go down, and I need to know how many steps I go down. So that's 1, 2, 3. So since it is down, that's going to be a negative 3. And then you guys go 1 step to the right. 1 to the right. So the rise will be your negative 3. When you guys go up or down, that's the rise. And the run is when you guys go to the right. So I'm going to substitute the numbers. Rise is negative 3. And the run on the bottom of the fraction is 1. Negative 3 over 1. You guys can simplify. Negative 3 over 1 is just negative 3. So the rate of change or the slope of the graph is -3. 25, what is the slope of the line that passes through the points 7, 2 and 7, -5? We have 2 points. So when we have 2 points, we are going to use the slope formula. So m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. That is the slope formula. So the first point is going to be x1, y1. The second point is going to be x2 and y2. So I'm just going to substitute. y2 is -5. So I'm going to substitute on the top of the fraction. Here's the fraction line. So we have a -5 on the top minus the y1 is +2. So I'm going to put a 2, not negative, so I don't need to use parentheses. In the bottom, x2 is 7. So I'm going to write down a 7 minus x1 is 7. So I'm going to put a 7 right there. When you guys simplify, this is going to equal, let me bring down the m here. M equals, on the top of the fraction, -5 minus 2, that's -7. And on the bottom, 7 minus 7 is 0. Now this is very important. Since you guys have a 0 on the bottom of the fraction, you can never divide by 0 on the bottom of the fraction. So the slope is undefined. Since you guys are dividing by a 0, that's not possible. It's undefined. So that's the answer. The slope of the 2 points is undefined. Let me give you guys just a little extra review for you. If you guys, let me make a bubble here. If you guys have a fraction, let's say m equals 0 divided by a whatever number you guys have on the bottom. Not 0, but any other number. But if you guys have a 0 on the top, if the 0 is on the top of the fraction, that's when the slope is 0, okay? But if the 0 is on the bottom, is undefined. So the question we got, we did get a 0 on the bottom. There's the slope, undefined. 26, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line given the slope and y-intercept. Slope equals -4/5 and y-intercept is 6. Guys, this says we want the slope-intercept form. So what is the slope-intercept form? That's when y is by itself. Y equals the mx plus the b. They give us the slope. The slope is -4/5. That's your m. So I'm going to substitute. Y equals -4/5. You keep the x. And the y-intercept is your b value. And this one is +6. So you're going to put +6. That's all you have to know. The answer in slope-intercept form is y equals -4/5x plus 6. 27. Graph the inequality. Not equation. We have an inequality. Y is greater than -3/4x minus 3. Greater. So we need to know what type of line we are going to use, and we also have to shade one other side of the line, one other side of the graph. So this one doesn't have the or equal to. The little line on the bottom, you guys do not have it. So when you guys have a greater than or even a less than, no line on the bottom, that means the line is dashed. If you guys don't remember what is dashed, you guys have a line like a dotted line, or maybe you can say a broken line, but it is dashed. Since the y is by itself, I am going to use the slope and the y-intercept to graph the line, and then I need to know what side to shade. So first, let me write down the slope. The slope of the line is the number with the x. You guys have a -3/4. Remember, if you guys have a negative next to the fraction, take it to the top. That's what you do. Just take the negative to the top and keep the bottom positive. So we have a -3/4. So that's the slope of the line. Then I'm going to use the y-intercept. B is the y-intercept. The constant, -3, it is a -3. So that's going to be the y-intercept. So on the y-axis, I'm going to start at -3. So -1, -2, -3 is right here. You guys are going to use the slope, -3 over 4. So rise is negative, you go down 3, and the run is 4, so you go 4 to the right. So from the y-intercept, you go down 1, 2, 3, and then to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you make a second point. You guys can make more points, but 2 points is enough. You guys are going to make your dash. Notice I'm making my dash line, and don't forget those arrowheads at the end of the line. So it is a dash, dash, dash line. Now we need to know what side to shade. The way you guys can check is by looking at the inequality of the next to the y. So when the y, and this only works when y is by itself. When y is by itself, if you guys have a greater than, that means you guys are going to shade the top of the y-intercept. So the top of the y-intercept is over here, right here. So all of this area, top of the line, is what you guys are going to graph. So, or you're going to shade, not graph. You're going to shade everything, all the area on the top of the line. So you guys have the answers or solutions. We say solutions, same thing as answers. Every point on top of the line. I know my line is not that straight, guys, but it is a multiple choice. So you guys are going to have your options, A, B, C, D. You just need to look for the graph that has a dashed line. Make sure you guys check the slope and the y-intercept, and also check that it is shaded on the correct side of the line. 28 says, what is the slope of the line that passes through the points -2, -3, and 6, -5? Again, we want to find the slope of the line, and we have 2 points. So when we have 2 points, we use the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the first point is your x1 and the y1. Second point, x2 and y2. So I'm going to substitute into the formula. y2 is -5. I'm looking at the second point. There's the y2. So that's going to be -5 minus the y1. And notice the y1 is also negative. So I'm going to have to use parentheses. So parentheses, -3. On the bottom, you guys are going to use the x. So x2 is 6. So I'm going to have 6 minus, and the x1 is -2. So you guys are going to have the parentheses with the -2 inside. Now, these guys, remember we have double negatives. So the double negatives are going to turn positive. On the top, positive. On the bottom, positive. So I'm going to change those two signs. Positives right here. So I'm going to bring down the m. Equals, I do have the -5 on the top, but I'm going to turn that double negative into +3, and the bottom is going to be 6, +2. Finish the problem. You guys are actually going to finish. So I'm going to bring down the m again, right there, and on the top, -5 plus 3, that's -2, and on the bottom, 6 plus 2 is 8. We can reduce the fraction. Yes, we can. You guys can divide by 2. You guys can reduce by 2. It is negative, so let me bring down the m right here. And we're going to have a negative, divide by 2 on the top. That's going to be 1. And the bottom, you also divide by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So you guys have the slope of -1 over 4. 29, it says graph the equation, not inequality. We have an equal sign. So the good thing is that we have the y by itself. Y equals 2 over 3x minus 5. So when y is by itself, it is the slope in as a form, and we can use the slope and the y-intercept. So the slope of the line is going to be the number with the x, this fraction right here. So we have 2 over 3. The y-intercept is going to be your b value, and that's a constant, the number with no variable. So we have a -5, that is a -5. So the slope is 2 over 3, that is your rise and the run, and the y-intercept is -5. So on the graph, you guys start with the y-intercept. So on the y-axis, -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's the y-intercept. Then with the slope, you guys are going to go up 2, that is a +2, 3 to the right. That's the run. So rise is positive 2 and 3 to the right. From here's the y-intercept. I go up 1, 2 and 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. And you guys will have a second point. Now, guys, this is an equation. It's not an inequality, so you don't have to worry about the dash solid. You just make a regular line, and the regular line is a solid line. So you're just going to connect the 2 points and make sure you guys make your arrowheads when you guys make your lines. Here's the line I am making. And then you guys have the arrowheads, and that is the graph of the line. It has a slope of 2/3 and the y-intercept of -5. Question 30, graph the inequality. Now here, guys, look at the inequality. X is greater than or equal to -2. We're going to use a number line. We're not going to actually use the coordinate plane, the x-axis and the y-axis. We're just going to use an open circle or closed circle, and it is on the number line. So looking at the inequality, it has an or equal to. So that means your circle is going to be closed, first of all, okay? So you guys have a dark circle, you shade in the circle, you guys have a closed circle. The number that is given is -2. So on top of the -2, you guys are going to make your dark or closed circle, just like that. And then we have to draw the arrow. Looking at the inequality, remember this is kind of like an arrowhead. It is pointing to the number. So when the inequality is pointing to the number, you guys are going to make your arrow going to the right. So all of this on the right side, all the numbers on the right side of -2 are greater than or equal to -2. And we do use a closed circle because the answers, there's many answers, it is including the -2. -2, it is equal to -2. And all the numbers on the right side, the -1, the 0, and all the positives are greater than -2. So that's why we need the arrow going to the right. All right, guys, so we finished the review for the final. You guys have 3 videos. This is the 3rd video, so make sure you guys also check my first 2 videos, and you guys can watch all the questions again. Make sure you guys practice. Make sure you guys get prepared for the final. If you guys like my videos, you guys can click that like button, and I'll see you guys later.